Jody Avergan here. Later this year, ESPN will bring you 30 for 30 podcasts. We're finding the best stories for you right now, and to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet. With all 4 all-wheel drive, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and the new 30 for 30 podcasts are coming this June. Visit miniusa.com/new countryman.
All right, this has the potential to be the greatest show that we've ever done. Greg Cody is plugging in his headsets.
We're set.
It also has the potential to be the worst show that we've ever done. Mike Ryan is a nervous wreck about this show, in large part because Mike Ryan is up in Bristol, Connecticut. Mike, on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you about today's proceedings? Greg Cody, Domonique Foxworth in with me. You're not here. Batard on vacation somewhere along the coast of the Baltic Sea.
I'd be more nervous if Domonique was not in studio with you guys.
I don't know that I should give you me being here should give you any comfort, because if you remember my first time hosting in place of Dan, not my first time in the show, but the first time it was just Stu and I together, my strategy was to lean in on Stu. And, we're going to go full Stu. No one cares about me. No one wants me to be here. And so as I'm flying down, I'm thinking, obviously the strategy this time is to go full Greg. I'm going to be teeing up Greg all day for home runs.
Yes, because you and I...
Now it's a 10.
Right, yeah.
Just give me softballs, though. Underhand throws, please.
Because Domonique and I will have our day tomorrow, because Domonique is in with me. Greg will not be here tomorrow. So, yes, let's make that let's tee up Greg Cody today.
One thing is I said I was going to tee up Greg Cody and T-ball, put him on a tee. And Greg said, no, he wanted it easier. He wants underhand throws.
Yes, underhand. Softballs, high arc.
You don't understand how T-ball would be the easiest possible. You just asked for it to get a little bit more difficult, but hey, whatever.
Because if you swing low, you hit nothing but the rubber pole.
There is certainly more room for embarrassment with T-ball, right?
There is, indeed.
Yes, there is. But you want them lobbed in. You don't want the University of Florida softball pitcher,
no,
coming at you 70 miles per hour.
No curveballs.
Okay.
Nothing. No.
Lobbing it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello. By the way, Domonique and I feel like I can say this. We just met, but the chemistry has been fantastic. We're like BFFs.
Oh, better than BFFs.
Yeah,
nice.
in fact, we've already arranged, if the weather clears, we're going to go jet skiing together after the show.
Guaranteed. just one jet ski, though.
Yeah, that's right.
A single-seater.
Yeah.
I claim the back. I got the back. I want to cuddle up.
Roy, do you have the show killer sound? I mean, do you have the loser game show sound? By the way, Greg, unlike you, Dominique listens to the show all the time.
Right. I want a royalty anytime anybody goes, baby.
You should, yes.
Oh, no. I change it a little bit. I go, baby. You go, baby.
That's
it's
true.
different.
It is different. You're right. Yeah, I can't claim a patent on your version.
Let's hear your baby real quick.
Baby.
Dominique.
Baby. It's a little different.
That's pretty good, though.
Dueling babies. I like this.
So can I explain? So every time I come down to Miami, there's always a bunch of things that are kind of crazy and interesting. So I'll get to those at some point. But the most exciting thing about my morning was, like Greg said, we met. He was coming up the stairs. I was going down. It was our first time we locked eyes. We kind of there was immediate spark. Right. Then I come back in, and Greg is getting his makeup done, and he's sitting in here getting ready. And what I walk into is a conversation that is like quintessential Greg Cody. He's like, yeah, Marilyn Monroe, she was really beautiful. I could understand her and JFK. What year is this? This is not made up.
Man, beauty is beauty, man.
This is the conversation I walked into. We're not talking about Beyonce or anybody, no Rihanna, nothing. Not like Jeff Van Gundy's talking to Rihanna. I walk into Cody chatting with Myra, the makeup lady, about how beautiful Marilyn Monroe is and how attractive JFK was, and you kind of understand how they get mixed up with each other.
Yes.
Nailing it.
Dominique, as you learn quickly, with me, this is for real, man. And with Greg Cody, it's real.
Oh, I love it. I couldn't have asked. I was thinking after that happened, I walked out of the room immediately because I didn't want to start laughing. But I was thinking I couldn't imagine a better conversation for me. That's the first interaction of Greg Cody's I witnessed. We shook hands.
Yeah.
The next words I heard out of his mouth was, That Marilyn Monroe sure is a beauty. Could I don't know what I could have thought of. That would be better.
Do you mind if I ask how that conversation got started with our makeup lady? Like
I think Myra brought it up. I mean, she started it, if there's anyone to blame.
Right.
But when someone proposes that Marilyn Monroe was a stunning beauty, you don't disagree because actually I'm almost too young to have fully remembered Marilyn, but she certainly was an icon. I could have gone back further, though, with the reference. I could have thrown in an Ava Gardner or a Clark Gable.
Of course. And JFK, he was a handsome guy. JFK is probably the best-looking president we've ever had, right?
Yeah, sexiest.
No,
Barack Obama, obviously.
Oh, Barack was
the
sexy.
blind spot there. Sorry.
No, he was. Yeah, you're right. Jimmy Carter, maybe?
It's Steve Kerr. Man, that's Steve Kerr. Comes back, steals all the glory.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to save that for later.
Mike Brown got robbed.
I got something for you, Steve Kerr.
You do. You're good. I'll help you. Listen, I'll hype you up, man.
No. Today is Greg Cody Day.
Okay.
I'm ready to be Greg Cody's hype man. It's be a little different. Like yours is like a Stugotz, like more contemporary hip hop hype man. We got to go back to a Grandmaster Cody, like an old school hip to the hip, like one of those type of hype man.
Yeah, Run DMC era.
Guillermo?
I don't see the JFK thing. Yeah. Like I've always thought he's overrated. Like he has big bags under his eyes. I don't know.
Well, that was the stress, man. I mean, listen, when you're running around with Monroe and you're married and you're the president and all that stuff's going on, I mean, there's stress involved there. Plus that whole, Cuban Missile Crisis thing.
Yeah, but if he was around today, I don't think people today would find him that attractive.
Oh, no way.
Oh, no, you're crazy.
I'm bringing up a picture right now. Let me take a look.
Well, hold on. Because I'd be interested. You mentioned Jimmy Carter. I would throw Ronald Reagan.
I was kidding about Jimmy Carter.
Oh, you were? Right, no, because I would say Jimmy Carter back in his prime was actually a pretty decent-looking guy.
Right.
Like, you have to go back a ways on Jimmy Carter, but you'll see there's... I would put Ronald Reagan in that conversation as well.
FDR. I mean, Ronald Reagan's cheating because he was like a professional actor.
He was an actor. Right. Yeah,
but
he
I mean,
the Hollywood thing going.
FDR is fantastic. I mean, despite the whole polio thing. Really sexy gentleman.
He overcame that. Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, they just propped him up. He looked like commanding and handsome.
Wait, but are we saying this is a two-president race here? Is it Obama and J.F. Kennedy in terms of best-looking?
Realistically. Unless you want to get into the 19th century presidents who had the full beards.
Oh, please do.
Garfield and guys like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are like more like fetish-type guys. They're not the type of guy that everyone will be in on. But, like, if your thing is a chunky guy, you're down with Taft. Like, that's your thing.
Yeah, they all weighed 400 pounds back then.
Right.
Rutherford B. Hayes, all those guys.
If you could only nominate one from that era, Greg, since you are the expert in that era, who would you nominate?
Lincoln wearing nothing but the stovepipe.
Ooh, Franklin Pierce has good bone structure. If you see, like, a young Franklin Pierce, look him up.
Okay, I'm on it. There has to be a list on this, right? Like best-looking presidents? There has to be.
Frank Pierce, I called him.
I'm still looking at these JFK pictures, and I think it also has something to do with, like, the whole mystique around him at the time and, like, Camelot, like you mentioned, because he's a decent-looking guy. Who was the president just before him? Because that might have something to do with that, where it's kind of like, oh, we went from...
Well, that was Nixon, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
I think it was
Nixon.
Yes.
So that might have something to do with it. Is like, we got Nixon, he's a liar, he's not very handsome.
Oh, sweating like a pig.
Then we got JFK rolling in there, looking young.
Yep.
I'm checking out a list right now. So the list that I have has Theodore Roosevelt number 1.
What?
But they do have JFK number 2. They have Barack Obama number 3. They have Thomas Jefferson at number 4.
What?
Yes. And Franklin Pierce, by the way, is number 5. Clinton somehow is number 6. He was not a good-looking guy at all.
Oh, women thought Clinton was sexy.
Well, women did, yes.
Yeah.
Chris.
Ulysses S. Grant, he has like a rugged look to him. I think I'm looking at the same list as you, Stugotz, number 18. He's got like the rugged beard.
Yeah, let me check him out. Hold
Sexy
on.
beard.
Handsome guy.
Yep. George Bush also, yeah.
I don't even think that Theodore wins for the Roosevelt category. Like, FDR.
Yeah, I'm with you on FDR.
It's handsomer than Theodore. Theodore has like the chain on his glasses. It's not, I don't know. It's not much of a look. It's like an adult baby with a mustache.
Teddy's like the guy you'd marry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
FDR's like the guy you date.
Right.
Didn't FDR have the creepy monocle and the, cigar with a holder and all that? Who am I thinking of?
I believe he did. By the way, Grant is undercover, sneaky good looking.
Let's see.
That Chris is right.
Check out this Ulysses.
He is manly.
Has that name disappeared, Ulysses? You don't see many of those anymore.
When's the last time you've heard that?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a young Ulysses.
It's an 11 now.
S. Grant.
You slightly tripped over that. You stepped on my slide.
I'm sorry. I was setting up a Ulysses S. Grant. The S is for sexy, but then I heard it's on 11, and I realized don't step on that.
What were your questions about? Was it FDR, Greg, with the monocle and all that?
I think he had a cigarette holder.
Yeah, I
It's
believe.
a Monopoly guy.
Are we sure that the Monopoly guy is not based on FDR?
It could be.
Who was he based on?
Not sure.
Greg?
I want to create a list here. Yes, I want to create a list here and have the people vote at Batard Show on Twitter. Let's come up with 4 presidents. Okay, we each get to pick one. Mike, you get to pick one.
Let me warn you ahead of time.
Right.
Do not leave Obama off the list.
Okay, so Dominique is going with Barack Obama. Greg is going with JFK.
I would go with JFK, or if someone else didn't pick him, I would go with Clinton.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Ronald Reagan. Mike, who do you got?
Calvin Coolidge guy.
All right. All right.
Nerd.
You know what? We'll make it 7. Fat Chris, who are you going to nominate? Ulysses Grant? Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Guillermo?
I'm going to stick with my boy Frankie Pierce.
Okay. Frankie Pierce. And Roy?
JFK.
He stole your Barack Obama, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
JFK was nominated already, no?
We can get a double vote.
Yeah.
Coolidge kind of looks like the devil.
Yeah, he does.
I'm looking at these pictures of Calvin Coolidge, and I'm going to have to judge you, Mike.
Just went for a funny name.
Yes, he did. Well, I knew what you were doing there. I don't like the...
Bad president as well.
Who was?
Coolidge.
Yeah.
Why?
Very bad
You
reputation.
remember him?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you vote for him?
I did not. No, I voted for his opponent, Jack McGillicuddy.
That will never not be funny to me.
I'm in heaven right now. I just want to take a moment to
He's the best.
enjoy
He's
how
the
happy
best.
I am.
He's the best. Greg, I am telling you, there are going to be no loser game show sounds. Forget it. Forget what I said, Roy. There's going to be nothing here, okay? We're not going to try to get you on the hard net workout unless we do. But we're going to try not to. Just be yourself the entire show.
I promise.
There is no pressure. No one's going to yell at you. You know, I'm not going to yell at you. Dominique's going to tee you up.
Dan's on a ship somewhere yelling at me, though. I know that.
It doesn't matter. He's not here to yell at you. So just let it fly today, Cody.
Flying it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like the I was on SportsCenter and it dawned on me that I am the guy who has staked his flag and Kevin Durant did not earn this NBA title. And I didn't like how it felt this morning when I was doing it.
So terrible. I mean, the interesting thing about all of these moves is it seems that something that I've known for a while is the players are a lot smarter than the rest of us. And we all jumped on all of their decisions to move here and to move there, and they've all been proven right. Like, all of LeBron's moves seem to have worked out for the best for him. Kevin Durant's move, it's impossible in my mind to argue that he didn't do the right thing now, because there are conversations. He's being put in all-time great conversations now that he was not in before, no matter what team he's on. And then you can go back to the Celtics and them all coming together. That seemed like the right move. They won a championship, and all of their profiles have been raised. And it just seems like the players have been proven right time and time again. And the distance from which the decisions are made changes how we feel about them. While there are some people like Stu now who are really piling on Durant, 15 years from now, I don't think that's going to be the way that we remember this. And it's not even the way they remember LeBron from the Heat.
I'm always amused when it's construed as a negative. Like fans say, he's just chasing rings. Isn't that the whole point? I mean, if you're Kevin Durant, you want a championship. If you're LeBron, that's your driving force. I don't blame a guy for joining a super team and trying to win a ring or 2 or 3. I mean, that's the whole idea.
Well, I said this on SportsCenter, so for me, he certainly earned it. It's ridiculous to sit here and say he didn't earn it. But you know that feeling you had, at least I had, when LeBron finally won 1, when Jordan finally won 1, when Dr. J, early 80s, finally won 1, although they added Moses Malone and it was a great team. I didn't have that feeling last night. Like, Greg, don't you think it would have been much better received had he stayed with Oklahoma City and last night it was him and Russell Westbrook celebrating an NBA championship? They got past Golden State. They got past LeBron James, because I think it would. I think it would have done a lot more for his legacy.
It would have been only because it's a smaller market. And Oklahoma City would have just embraced the guy. He would have become a folk hero. But in terms of...
Well, plus it'd be harder.
Yeah, it would have been harder. But in terms of Durant's career, I don't begrudge him what he did. And to go to win it with the finals he had, the second most points ever in a 5-game series. I mean, I imagine that a weight just lifted from his shoulder the way it did with LeBron his second year with the Heat.
I mean, I don't know how anyone can watch the end of that game and not be happy for him. Like, there's 2 possessions left in the game, and he's getting emotional. His mom is at center court with him crying.
Right.
And you think about the journey. Like, at that point, I don't give a damn about the journey of him from OKC to Golden State. Like, when you see his mom, I think about the journey of him from the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area all the way up and through to the point where he is there, where he is getting a finals MVP. Like, that feels good to me, and that is – I agree with you. If he would have done this with OKC, we all would have had like a slightly more fuzzy feeling about it. But that's plenty fuzzy to me. Think about that guy who's looking at his mom saying, "You're the real MVP," and then he's at center court celebrating a championship where he had one of the best finals statistically in finals history.
All right, we'll discuss more of this coming up next. Guillermo wants to change his nominee for best-looking president in United States history.
Yeah, someone pointed this out on Twitter, and they're right. Millard Fillmore looks exactly like Alec Baldwin.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Stu, just because you have a cough button, which works, by the way, doesn't mean you have like the liberty to just cough as loud as you possibly can, because there are other mics that aren't hitting a cough button at the same time. So if you need to cough or clear your voice, just try to do it a little more discreetly.
Okay. Gotcha.
Stugotz.
I thought when you hit this cough button, it mutes your microphone. That's what I thought.
It does, but you're so loud and vile that other microphones are picking it up.
It's such a loud cough that all the microphones pick it up. And this is only, I don't know, the 40th time we've mentioned it to you.
Sorry about that, Dano.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Mike, we were discussing during the break, because Dan is slowly starting to creep back into civilization. He has sent out recently a couple of tweets. He'll be back on Thursday. But we thought it'd be funny to, since he's, seems to be closer and seems to be, coming closer and being back on the grid, we thought it'd be funny. He's checking Twitter now. We thought it'd be funny to put up the sportiest of sports polls at Le Batard Show on Twitter just to annoy him. Good idea, bad idea?
Bad idea.
Why, you don't want to annoy him?
There's no guarantee he sees it. It's not like you're going to be talking about these topics, right?
All right. Marino or Montana at Le Batard Show on Twitter. Marino or Montana.
We might talk about him. We go wherever Greg goes.
Let's
exactly.
go.
It's Greg.
I'm always good with that.
Sedano was in here with me one day, and he called it a Stugotz spa day. And this, I think, Domonique, where we're headed it's a Greg Cody spa day today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cody, you think the Panthers coach looks like me? Is that what you were saying
No,
during the break?
There's a photo. I just retweeted it. It's Dale Talon, the general manager on the left, the new coach in the middle,
right,
and an unnamed executive on the right who I thought looks like you. Okay. It's slightly more beard. It's like you trying to disguise yourself and photobomb the Panthers.
Were you aware the Panthers got rid of their old coach?
I was, yeah. Yeah, they were without a coach for a while.
Because I was thinking about this yesterday. You want to appreciate the Heat? The Dolphins seemingly hire a new coach every 2 to 3 years, 4 years maybe. The Canes seem to be doing it fairly often. The Panthers seem to do it every other year, and the Marlins seem to do it like every third season. So, but yet Eric Spoelstra has been the head coach for a while and will be the head coach for as long as I think Pat Riley is there as president of basketball operations, and as long as Mickey Harrison owns that team.
The stability of the Heat is pretty impressive. I think, other than Popovich, he could be second in tenure among NBA coaches. There may be one other ahead of him, but Spo is right up there now. And the Dolphins made a good hire, I think, in Adam Gase. And Mattingly, I think, is good for the Marlins. I think we're in a good spot right now. But, yeah, the Panthers should never have fired Gerard Gallant. And with this new guy, who knows, because he's never been a head coach.
Yeah, I wrote a piece not too long ago that I think is going to go up to no, it's not going to go up today. I think it might go up tomorrow, just about how the Jets are positioning their coach, frankly, to be probably fired after this season.
Yes.
But in reading the history of his, 2-year going on, 3-year, 10-year there, Todd Bowles is his name. I probably should have said that. It just brings into stark reality how little control the coach has on the outcome of the season and how much of that responsibility falls on them or blame falls on them. It's the same for quarterbacks and coaches. But I think that coaches are fired far too easily and far too often in my mind. And I don't know. I don't know much about hockey, but I'm going to go with Greg Cote because it's Greg Cote Day. And if he said that the past coach should not have been fired, bring him back. Let's start a campaign.
Yeah.
And this guy here that looks like you, Stu, he looks exactly like you, and he looks a little bit less trustworthy than you.
But really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think that was possible.
I think it's the smile. His smile's, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Look him up. His smile looks so fake. Your smile is only like 80% fake.
Right.
His is like 96%.
Yeah, he
Can I
just
see
snuck
him?
in the photo. He's not even belonging to the club.
Can I see this gentleman? Can I see who? You're both sliding your computers over here. Okay, I see it. So it's the guy. It's the guy on the, I guess, my right, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Far right. Yeah.
He does look like me, and he does look a bit shadier than I do, which again I didn't think possible. Mike, do you have anything? Greg Cote is fresh off vacation here. He was in Spain, Italy, France. We will talk to him about that. Ooh. Yes, I know. Spain, Italy, France, with his wife. Yes.
Did you buy that shirt in
I did
any
not.
of those countries?
No, I bought this shirt in the States in about the mid-'80s.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I knew that.
At a garage sale.
I could look at that shirt and tell it's not in a European.
Really?
It's not a European shirt.
Plus, I'm wearing a green shirt with blue jeans, which may or may not go together.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It's like swamp green. It's got a little paisley action happening. It's beautiful. I can't wait to. Are we on TV today?
Oh, yes, we are.
You
Good
guys
idea on the paisley, by the way.
Oh, yeah. You guys are in for a treat when you see this, Jim.
How about that?
Oh, I think they've seen it before. That's the thing.
It could be. Yeah, it's in my rotation. I mean, I only have like 5 shirts.
Same
I
here.
don't have a good enough body to wear a tight-fitting shirt. Like
I know. It's well, you're annoying in that way. I must tell you, man. You're really fit. And you're really good looking.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna show off, man.
Seriously, that's a Lululemon, isn't it?
But when I'm here, I'm so deferential. I am a generous lover.
Right. You are. You really are.
I may look this way.
Yes.
But I don't lord it over my companions. I come in and I put you on a pedestal, tee you up, home runs.
You do. I mean, to your credit, you do. I love you, man. Like, I thought about leaving my wife for you.
Greg, anything to say to that?
I did not think about leaving my wife for you.
Baby.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Man, what happened to me?
There it is.
Baby.
In fact, Rich, your son was so mad at you right there.
I need cue cards. Can I have a teleprompter?
It's your line, man.
We need hand signals. That's what we need. Like I played in NFL for a while, and in college and in NFL, there's always a couple guys on the team who just aren't quite. They don't see the same things you see, and it's nice to have
Yes.
when a formation pops up that you'd studied, and you're like, okay, here comes this play. You got to turn around sometimes and give the safety or the inside linebacker a hand signal to let them know we're going to switch these routes. It's a stack.
Dominique was saying before the show that he just wants to lob things up for my dad today, and I was like, good luck with that, because he does not pick up on anything.
Right. And conversations tend to die on his lap.
Like this one?
Mike, Greg, so my point of telling you that Greg was on vacation and has been on vacation until last night for a couple of weeks, about 10 days, right?
Yeah,
You were on
10-day
vacation?
cruise that began and ended in Barcelona.
So I asked him about Gordon Hayward to the Heat. He had nothing on that because he's been away, and that's fair because typically Greg, especially on the local stuff, he's all over it and usually writing about it.
Right.
Mike, what do you have, Gordon Hayward? And you know I haven't researched anything or read a single article about anything. Mike, what do you have for us on Gordon Hayward to the Heat? Because I do find it interesting. The more interesting conversation to me is what these teams are going to have to do to compete with the Golden State Warriors. And if you're the Heat right now and you're a Heat fan, you feel like you're a million miles away from being able to compete with that team. I don't know if Gordon Hayward fixes it. In fact, I will tell you that Gordon Hayward does not fix it. But, Mike, what are you hearing on that front?
Well, Mark Stein reported last week, this was a great tweet that he sent out, free agency scuttle. Love a good scuttle.
Yes.
Volume is rising on the whispers that the team is worrying Utah's Gordon Hayward's free agency might go to Miami as much as it might go to Boston. So the volume's increased on these Heat whispers that started a couple months ago that they're just as concerned that Gordon Hayward ends up in Miami as he would if he left Utah for Boston, say, and joined his old coach Brad Stevens.
Most importantly, when do you go with scuttle or scuttlebutt? Like, what's the difference?
I was thinking of that.
I mean, is scuttle more or less serious than scuttlebutt?
Isn't scuttle the name of a fish?
I think it's a cuttlefish.
Is it a cuttlefish? It could be.
Yeah. Guillermo, you have something for us on this?
I thought Scuttle was like the seagull in The Little Mermaid.
Well, can we check on this?
Is the butt unnecessary?
Oh, Mike says it was. Do you love a good scuttle, by the way, at Batard Show on Twitter, yes or no?
I really want to know though, like if scuttle is more intense, like is it more certain if it's scuttle or is it less certain if it's
I think this might be a character limit issue.
I'll say,
it's short for scuttlebutt.
I'll say this. I just Googled the word scuttle, and it brings you directly to scuttlebutt.
Yeah, so I don't care about your character limit. You don't cut out the butt and scuttle. You cut out other characters. I might need to assess this tweet and tell him how he should have sent it. Because you got to get the full butt in there.
Well, we're getting down to it here. He misused it. It is scuttlebutt because the word scuttle means a shallow, open basket for carrying something such as grain or garden produce.
Are we sure that he misused it? Maybe he meant that there was a shallow, open basket with Gordon Hayward in it.
That could be.
There you go.
Yeah, stuffed into a small basket. That's true.
I actually have a deep bucket for carrying coal.
Well, it's a bucket then.
Norris coal?
A lump of coal, Gordon Hayward.
So, Greg, did you catch any La Liga games while you were in Barcelona?
Did not catch any La Liga games, but I was fascinated to literally stumble into a massive march, a demonstration. There's a big issue in Barcelona, which I wasn't aware of, was people in Catalonia wanting independence from Spain. And I knew that was on the table, but I didn't know it was such a passionate issue. And there were literally tens of thousands of people marching along the promenade. I took a video of it. It's just fascinating to be in a foreign country and to see that kind of thing.
Sure.
It'd be like somebody from Spain coming to D.C. and seeing a massive Women's Day march or, an anti-Trump demonstration or anything like that. It really gives you a sense of place and, wow, I'm not American anymore. I loved it.
How would the EU deal with independent Catalonia? I mean, it's interesting given that, the UK obviously had that important referendum recently that ended up taking a lot of the power away from Theresa May, and now she doesn't have the leverage to negotiate for terms, strong terms with the EU. And I wonder if Catalonia, which is financial power or economic power, at least in that region, if their independence would they stay in the EU or would they then join the UK with needing to negotiate trade terms with the EU?
That's a great unanswered question, but I spoke to a lot of people who, live and work there in hotels and such, and a couple of tourists and who I met at bars and cruise ships. And, the consensus was, well, it's sort of like the Brexit thing where it sounds good to stake your independence, but after you do that, then the hard work begins. Then how do we be independent economically?
The whole like America First kind of mantra and idea that Trump wrote into office, I think like sounds good in principle. Like this makes me think of that, where it sounds good in principle and being critical of NATO sounds good in principle, but in actuality, if you look at the history of NATO and the history of our alliances with many of the European countries, like it's been more beneficial to us than anyone else. So like, to use a reality TV analogy, which I think the president, being that he's from reality TV, might understand, is like you go from being the leader of the most powerful alliance in the House to being out on your own with a lot less power and influence. Seems like a bad way to go about things, but who knows?
I've been silent during this entire conversation because I have no idea what these guys are talking about.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Let's talk about power. To illustrate this, allow me to tell you a story about how I moved a tow truck 25 miles using only my index finger. I was stranded with a flat tire. I opened the Geico app. Then, with a few taps of my finger, I beckoned emergency roadside assistance and a tow truck to my car. I invite you all to unleash the full potential of your fingertips with the Geico app. Thank you.
Dan Le Batard.
561, eat it!
Stugotz.
Eat it, 561.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Domonique Foxworth, Greg Cote sitting in with me today. Dan is off until Thursday. We'll be back from vacation on Thursday. Should steroid-tainted guys like Bonds and Clemens make it to the Hall of Fame at Batard Show on Twitter. Bill, please put that up as a poll question. We are trying to come up. Dominique actually likes doing it this way. Let's ask the listeners. We're efforting here, even though Mike has told me not to, and he's probably going to be mad at me, which is fine. We don't mind the tension on the show here. And Mike and I love each other, I think. Or at least I love him. I'm not certain if he loves me. Mike, do you love me?
Of course, brother.
All right, thank you. Is it sincere?
No, it.
Yeah.
Be careful, Mike. The wait is over. Don't forget.
Yeah. We want because we pride ourselves on putting up poll questions that mock sports radio poll questions, but now we just want to upset Dan, and I'm in a foul mood because I lost the bet and I got to shave my head like Paul Feinbaum for a day and wear the glasses and do that whole deal. And I thought we were going to do it before the college football season, but now Mike's telling me he wants to do it like in the next week or two. Mike, when do you want to do this?
I'd like to do it next Tuesday.
All right. Can you text Abby on that and see how she responds? Because I have no idea what future plans we have that may or may not get in the way of me doing it next Tuesday.
Do you want me to text your wife?
Well, she's not going to respond to me, man. She'll respond quicker to you than she will to me, I promise you. Just ask
do it
her.
on Tuesday.
You just want to do it on Tuesday? I mean, Mike, I got to warn her.
Do it on Tuesday.
All right.
No. Like, I know how this movie goes. I've seen it before.
Right.
Just going to put it off. Let's just do it Tuesday.
Well, that's why I'm telling you, go directly to the source. Like, just go to my wife.
For permission. You already agreed. I'm just going to tell her, hey, we're doing this on Tuesday.
I thought the terms of the agreement were that we do it, headed into the college football season because that's when, Paul Feinbaum is top of mind. You know what I'm saying?
You're making that up.
Makes sense.
It does, right, Greg?
Yeah, it makes sense.
We're going to do it in June where no one's talking about college football as opposed to doing it in September where everyone's talking about college football.
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
Well, I would think that Paul needs it less then. Paul would appreciate a little boost right now.
Oh, really?
No one's talking about Paul.
So do it for Paul?
Do it right now. Do it for Paul. Because Paul's Twitter, Paul's phone, everything's going to blow up right now.
Mike, that is a terrible week for me. I mean, I get hooked up to the lie detector next week, and you're saying the day before we do that, you want me to shave my head like Feinbaum? I mean,
I think it'd be really funny if you do Stu Lies 2 looking like Paul Feinbaum from the day before.
And then you have the advantage of saying that emotional stress influenced your test. There you go, Stu. So this works for you.
Okay.
So then after you get found out for all your lies, you can say, well, I was under emotional distress.
Right. But, Mike, let me get the days in order here. So it's next Wednesday is part 2, the lie detector, correct?
Correct.
And you want me to shave my head next Tuesday?
Correct. Back-to-back days of humiliation.
Right.
Big week.
Right. Well, every day's I mean, come on. I've had 15 consecutive years of humiliation on this show. But I guess what I'm saying is you think I'm going to keep the Feinbaum look for a second day? Because I'm telling you, I'm not doing it. I'll be bald.
Then you can shave your head, whatever. Be bald
Right.
for Stu Lies. Doesn't matter to me, but we're doing it back-to-back days next week.
Oh, man.
But next week is like, from a professional standpoint, Stu, I would think that would be the smartest time for you to do this because next week is kind of a dead time in sports. What is anybody going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about Stugotz.
Right.
Everybody in all of the sports world, possibly all of the world. If you do it during football season, they're going to be talking about, hey, Alabama, can they come back? Will Clemson repeat? Blah, 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 blah. You do it during the deadest period in all of sports, July, maybe.
Right.
You wait till July, or, well, not wait till July. You do it, sorry, Mike.
I do it next
I had
week.
him going,
yeah.
and then I started thinking about July,
Yeah,
my bad.
yeah, yeah.
Then you do it next
Don't do it in
week.
July.
Yeah.
Because it's a dead period.
All right.
Everyone in America is going to know your name.
You seem
Look,
to.
man, I'll peel back the curtain.
Yeah.
Spring book ends next week. Let's
Okay.
get this done.
Oh, so it's a ratings thing. Okay. It's sweeps. Is that what you're telling us?
Nice.
Sweeps. Let's go. Stunt time.
Next week is sweeps week, so we're doing the lie detector, and I'm shaving my head. Greg, you seem to be swayed because you were agreeing with me that September was the right time to do this.
I thought it was, but I was swayed by Dominique's opinion. But here's my thought: you don't have to shave your head because you can buy a Paul Feinbaum wig.
I
Nope.
can't. I
You
can't
can't?
do that. Yeah.
Seriously?
I can't. I mean, Dan was going to. I mean, technically, Dan was going to lay across naked. He was going to lay across a dead shark, but it was a fake dead shark, and so
He wasn't going to be naked either, was he?
Well, no, he was good. Yeah, he was going to be his real butt, but a fake shark. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you won that bet. Man. Wow.
Well, are you? Because I feel like America lost. I feel like America would have preferred to see Dan naked.
The alternatives are not pleasing. Believe me.
It's one of those things that you think you want to have happen until it actually happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to come up with the most basic sports arguments ever to put at Le Batard Show on Twitter to make them today's poll questions, like Marino Montana, like should steroid-tainted guys like Bonds and Clemens make it to the Hall of Fame. So feel free to tweet us at Le Batard Show, at Stugotz790.
Well, if you tweet at Le Batard, Dan will see them and he'll be on to it. So you got to make sure you tweet them to at Greg Cody.
All right, at Greg Cody. At Greg Cody, perfect. Just tweet him to at Greg Cody.
Make sure you follow him, too.
So what if this plays out? He's the best, I'm telling you, man.
He is the best.
Greg, you're gonna fall if you haven't fallen in love with him yet. You will fall in love with him by 1 o'clock.
We're going to be like peas in a pod on that jet ski. I'll tell you that.
Why are you jet skiing?
Because it's instant love.
Yeah, everybody knows that it's important in the early days of dating to do something that'll get your heart rate up because it creates a bond.
Really?
So yeah, if you go skydiving early on,
right?
Jet skiing on one jet ski,
you're
connected for life.
Have you ever been jet skiing?
Of course, yeah.
I have too.
Yeah.
I love it. Conversation is tough on a jet ski.
Well, I can tell you that my wife and I did. Yes, conversation's very tough.
I'll say all I need to say with how tightly I grip you from the back.
Baby.
Look at him. He's getting better, Chris.
Perfect. I mean, that was just perfect. I will tell you, you think it's bonding, okay? But my wife and I have told the story before. We did something outside of our comfort zone on our honeymoon. In an effort to bond, we went in a hot air balloon in Napa Valley.
Oh, wow. How romantic.
Very windy day. Romantic,
we'll
right?
find out about that next week.
Yeah. Oh, no, Mike. I mean, you can
call
it.
The wait is over.
Okay, the wait is over.
I've been in a hot air balloon with my, she wasn't my wife at the time. She's my wife now.
Right.
Out in Colorado.
Yeah.
A breakfast. Mm-hmm. Champagne breakfast. Hot air balloon ride.
Very nice.
Very romantic.
Yeah. Well, this happened on our honeymoon, and I told my wife I really wanted to do it. She did not. I said it'd be fun. Let's try it. It's something out of our comfort zone. Let's do it. It'd be a good bonding experience. I said exactly what you guys are saying. We went up there. It was a windy day. We got caught in a tree.
That, too, is romantic.
I mean, it's a great story.
There's a guy hiding.
It's a great story.
It's not romantic when there's another couple and a guy who's piloting the hot air balloon.
Oh, there was another couple?
There was.
You went in on the cheap, huh?
No, I didn't. I wasn't.
Or are you a swinger?
I wasn't. I'm a swinger.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a swinger.
My wife won a hot air balloon ride at a charity auction once, but got cold feet and gave it to somebody.
Did she? She regifted it?
Yeah, because I think there had been a week later there was something in the news where some poor people in a balloon, the balloon caught fire and landed in a ravine, and it was not a happy ending.
There is nothing better than the punchline to a Greg Cody story. They're tremendous. My wife won one in the auction. We gave it away.
That's true. That's a metaphor for my marriage.
What a punchline.
I'm so glad you did. Has your wife ever gotten mad at you for anything that's been said on the show?
Constantly.
Really?
No, she hasn't. No.
She hasn't?
No. Unless somebody tells her. I mean, she's a working woman, so she's not actually hearing the show.
Right.
Has no interest in podcasts or anything, so... unless I tell her something I've said or Christopher does or it gets back to her, she's oblivious.
Okay. Chris, is he unaware that your mom has gotten mad at him for things he has said on the show?
Well, she DVRs every day's show, so she definitely does check in more than he knows.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Monday through Friday or just Tuesdays?
All the days.
Really?
Wow. She watches more of the show than I do.
Very interesting. Would she be better at this than Greg?
She's better at basically everything than him.
Really? Huh.
Doug Williams promoted to vice president of player personnel, Redskins.
Yeah.
We got to stay up on our Doug Williams news around here.
I know we do. I made the mistake of leaving him out of a recent conversation.
Yep.
What was I talking about?
We were talking about the glory, the greatest players. I think you were going on a rant about the glory days of Washington football.
I was making a point that they dubbed it the greatest night in DC sports history.
Oh, that's what it was.
When they were the Wizards and the Capitals were both playing playoff games. I went on a Redskin rant and I left out Doug Williams. Dominique got mad at me.
I didn't get mad. I mean,
I pointed out Joe Theismann. I pointed out the white quarterbacks.
Yeah, Riggins. And you even went to the Hogs.
Yes.
No one talks about the Hogs. You talk about the O-line before you talk about the quarterback.
I want to get Mike. Let's just say this Gordon Hayward thing does play out. So you have Hayward and you have Whiteside and Goran Dragic, and presumably you have Deion Waiters. I don't know what happens with James Johnson.
Probably James Johnson's honestly held in higher regard than Deion Waiters.
So you'd rather have James?
Let's just say they find a way to make it all work.
All right, let's say to get everyone. You're saying, right?
Well, everyone, I don't know if you've seen like the social media stuff, but Paul George liked a comment saying, come to Miami. There were reports out there saying that Paul George wants to play with Gordon Hayward. So I think Pat Riley's really put himself in position here to have maximum flexibility. He can bring back the same team that was the hottest team in the Eastern Conference post All-Star break,
right?
Or he's going to keep his options open and go after the really big fish this offseason. Whales, one might say.
You would have to trade for Paul George right now, right?
He would, and that's a question of assets. Like, do you have the assets to do it? Remember, Indiana can sort of dictate where he goes by choosing the best offer. Like, he can make life difficult for them by not agreeing to sign a long-term extension and sort of try to call his shot that way.
I'm very judicious with use of the word whale. I mean, to me, you save whale for the LeBrons and the Durants. I don't know if Hayward or Paul George are whales.
I think Paul George is in that.
Is he?
Yeah.
Whale is a mammal.
Mm-hmm.
Whale's the biggest target in the offseason, the biggest guy available, and Gordon Hayward is the whale this offseason.
Good correction.
More like a marlin, maybe? What is the big fish?
Well, Mike, let's say that...
Shark?
Yeah, I guess. Neither, there's no scenario which it feels like enough. Not just to get past goal. It doesn't even feel like enough to get out of the East.
Yeah, especially when you consider you've got Cleveland, but then you've got Boston, which is, by all definitions, ascending.
Correct.
Particularly with all these draft picks.
I will be the Miami optimist and say that coaching is something that I would think doesn't matter that much in basketball, but I've come to think that it matters quite a bit because if you think about what Golden State has done, they were like a playoff team, but mediocre until Steve Kerr came in, and their defense was good prior to Kerr coming in, but the way that they changed their offense. So I think while no one thought that Curry, even after a few years in the league, no one thought he was an MVP caliber player.
No.
And no one thought that Draymond was like a all-pro type of player, but they became that in that system, and that once they got good, that's what then attracted Durant. So can you think of a team, I guess the Celtics, but can you think of a team in the NBA that has a better program and coach that's more adaptive, more has a better understanding of the current NBA that could potentially take a bunch of players who no one thinks are superstars and then possibly they become, as a collection of players, become a good enough team to really compete?
I mean, Heat would be at the top of the list.
So if you get the right players.
Maybe the Spurs, right?
And are there any better players for the current NBA than long guys with good ball handling skills like Hayward and George?
Forgot who you were talking about there for a second.
Hot one.